Hi everybody, this is Chad the Gaming Dad on Dad's Games, and today we're doing the single player review of Destiny, the Taken King, along with the other expansions for Destiny. Okay, so let's start off with what Destiny is. Basically, it's a first-person shooter mixed with an MMO, massively multiplayer online game, kind of like World of Warcraft. You know, this is an online-only game, even for single player. So be warned, you do have to be connected to the internet for this to work. When you're playing alone, even then, you'll see other people in the Destiny world. So Destiny, it's set in our solar system, far in the future, and you play as a Guardian, one of the last survivors from past wars. You know, I don't really want to spoil anything, but the story is really not the high point for this game. Some of the story is presented along the way, but if you really want to learn all about the history and lore of Destiny, you'll need to go to Bungie's website to read all about it. But really the best part of Destiny is the gameplay. You play this in first person, primarily with guns, and you level up and equip new gear by playing and acquiring items along the way. The graphics are a real high point in this game. The graphics are great, and some of the best from this generation. Many times you'll find yourself stopping just to look around at the great landscapes and the far-off planets in the background. Really cool stuff. Now, Destiny is a multiplayer game first and foremost, but you can have a lot of fun in single player. So you start off by choosing your class. There are three: the Titan, Warlock, and Hunter. They each have different powers and abilities, and they play somewhat different from one another. The Titans are more of a fighter and are better with weapons and have better defense. The Warlock is more in touch with special powers and using lightning and fire, and the Hunter is best if you like to fire on enemies with precision. All three have some similar power-ups, but how and when you use them is different, so pick what gameplay style you like. You begin by being awoken from a ghost, which is pretty much a little robotic flying assistant, and much of the story comes through the ghost. It's used to progress the levels along as well. The ghost tells you that you've been dead forever, basically, and they're bringing you back to life because you're going to be one of the Guardians, okay? From there you begin, and initially Destiny has a level cap of 20. So as you play through the levels of the story, you gain XP and you level up. And by the time you make it through the story missions, most people were at or near level 20. And after this, the game slowed down a lot for a lot of players. You know, the only way to continue to progress and level up past 20 was to play levels over and over again and hope that the weapons and abilities that drop from fallen enemies as rewards, you would hope that these things were better than what you currently had. These weapon and gear stats would raise your level beyond 20. Now the problem was this was all random, and there were many hours where you would play and not progress at all. That's what happened to me. I was really having fun with Destiny, and then it all came to a grinding halt. So the other thing to play at that point was multiplayer, PvP, player versus player. So I went ahead and tried that, but most of the guys on there had weapons and abilities that were far greater than mine, and I really didn't have the time to play for hours and hours to get something with the slow drip of progress. So I kind of stopped playing Destiny. Then there were two expansions. Each one offered more missions and some more gear to find, and each time it seemed that I would play for about a week and then kind of top off. The missions were not getting many more XP, and I wasn't lucky with the item drops, so my level kind of topped off again. So off I went again, no more Destiny. That brings us to where we are now, the Taken King expansion. I like to look at this kind of like it's basically Destiny 2. The original Destiny came out a year ago, and this is out now. Think of it kind of like the yearly edition of the Call of Duty or sports game, except for this one doesn't discard last year's content, it's still there. So if you have Destiny, and all the expansions already, in order to get the new content, you have to buy the Taken King expansion as a downloadable expansion. And it actually is priced at about $40. Not too bad if you think about it as a second game, but if you have not bought Destiny and you're new to it, this is a great time for you to jump in, since you can get the Taken King and all the previous content all in one package. the Taken King Legendary Edition. And this is the cheapest way to get into this game since you get everything for $60. It's a really good deal to play all of Destiny up to this point. So I get the Taken King and I begin play. The story missions are very fun and are presented with a bit more story than in the past, which is very nice. There also has been a change to leveling. You now get XP for all the missions that you play, and your level is only raised by your XP and not through weapon and gear stats. The max now is level 40, so as you progress through the story and you get to level 40, the Taken King, it doesn't slow down as much as the past versions of Destiny. You still need to go back to missions again and hope to get better gear to raise your light level. The light level now is basically just a stat that shows your overall character's power. So instead of just going back and hoping for random drops of some great gear, the game now presents you with more quests. These are strings of missions that have good rewards, and you'll find better gear faster than before also. This makes it very fun even after you hit the max level. You keep getting something and don't have as many hours of play with no progress at all. Playing Destiny as a single player is fun and challenging at times. It's also rewarding to beat these bosses and waves of enemies alone. If you have other friends that are playing Destiny, you can join up into fire teams for almost all of the missions, and then there are some that require a fire team to play. But if you're like me and you're playing solo, most of the strikes and missions have matchmaking, so you can just jump in there. But the larger raids, like Vault of Glass, are much larger in scale, and they require a lot of teamwork. And you cannot play these unless you are part of a team. There's no matchmaking because of the need for good teamwork. If you really want to play these missions and you can't round up the friends to build a fire team, there are websites like DestinyLFG.com where you can link up with others looking for a fire team. So that's a look at the single-player side of Destiny. From start to finish, there's a lot of action, great locations and missions, awesome first-person shooting gameplay. It's a really good time overall. The story is a little bit lacking, but that's not such a big deal if you just want to have fun with some shooting that feels really good. Also, there's just enough options to play co-op with the strikes, seeing as how you can jump in with matchmaking, and then even if you're inclined, you can try to create or join a fire team for the very challenging and much more rewarding raids. If you liked Bungie's past games like Halo, you're going to have fun in Destiny. Especially now, if you have never played it before, since you can get all of Destiny in one package for the cost of just one game. Just playing single player, with all of the expansions included, is going to give you hours and hours of fun. And then comes multiplayer, but we'll save that for next time. So overall, I would highly recommend Destiny to sci-fi fans, shooter fans, and MMO fans. But if you're the type that's more inclined to play a game that has a really good story and a little bit more straightforward gameplay, Destiny may frustrate you, so you might want to skip it. So there's our look at Destiny, the Taken King expansion along with all the previous expansions on the single player side of it. Next time we'll take a look at the multiplayer side. But for now, thanks for watching, and remember, you never outgrow video games. I am Chad the Gaming Dad, and we'll see you on the next one. So long, everybody.